What is up, everybody? We get the season finale of Matlock season 7, and I cannot wait to jump into this and hear John's thoughts because I know that he loves the Lewis family so much, and we found out that Billy has a brother. And wow.
I do love the Lewis family so much. They are world class, if you ask me. But
yeah, I mean, Billy Lewis looks like the sane one now, so I really cannot wait to jump into discussing this. How you been, John?
Oh man, I've been all right. I like back at the end of December, I started having problems with a molar in my head, and I put it off, but it got to a point right around, I'd say, the end of March where it started bothering me a lot, and so I had it removed because my dentist, who was a great dentist, he just said, "Look, we could do a root canal, we could do a crown, but I think this tooth is really damaged beyond belief, so we should probably just yank it out." And it's back here. Who's going to see it, right? So, yeah, that's what I've been dealing with this week is, taking care of my mouth because, you got to use the different mouthwash and the antibiotics and all that jazz so it doesn't get infected and all that jazz. So, that's me. What about you?
Good dentist, great dentist, best dentist. I like the show From. It's like a horror spin on Lost, and they dropped season 4, episode 1, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, it's been about a year and a half, maybe 2, since season 3 dropped. So I'm like watching it, I'm like, I don't remember some of these characters. So I watched the episode again, which I don't ever do. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do something else I don't ever do, which is start the series over. So I am into season 3 of my rebooted From binge, trying to finish it before the newest episode drops tonight, so I can be caught up again on it because it's a good show. It's a very good show.
You know what? I'm going to do that with Gen V. I know that show came out, I think, 4 or 5 months ago, the new season. Haven't gotten a chance to watch it yet, but from what I've heard from everybody, because it was like 2 years in between seasons, that a lot of people struggled to remember what the hell happened on that show. And so a lot of people have said, take a few minutes and rewatch the last episode of season, 2, I think. I think they're on season 2. Yeah, I think they're on season 2. So go back, watch the last episode of the previous season before you watch this season, because it'll help you understand and remember who's who and what's what. So
yeah, From is a super, super serialized show. So there's like always a lot going on. So just trying to catch back up with the plot. So I'm glad I'm rewatching it, though. I'm catching stuff I didn't catch the first time.
Yeah. Well, what else have you been watching besides From?
Dude, that's a loaded question. So we've started getting screeners on 3 Geeks. I think I mentioned this before. God, I wish I could talk about one of them. But watched the Stranger Things Tales of 85, which was fun. It was a fun show. It has prequel issues. I talked about it on 3 Geeks last night. There's characters and stuff that are never mentioned in the original series, and this takes place in the middle of the original run. And so that was pretty good. Running Point with Kate Hudson is a lot of fun. It's over on Netflix. She is the owner. Her and her siblings are the owners of a basketball team, and just kind of like hijinks and stuff that happens. It's a really good series. Good drama mixed with comedy. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, that's what I've been watching this week because From has taken a lot of my time.
Gotcha. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's the time of the show where I have to go rescue a cat who has managed to get herself in trouble. So, Jason, why don't you go ahead and tell the folks where they can find the 3 Geeks podcast and all that other miscellaneous stuff while I rescue this kitty from her own demise.
Well, everybody, 3 Geeks podcast has a lot of stuff going on. You guys can check out our interview with Felicia Day. I just dropped a fun little short where she's talking about starting Geek and Sundry. She is a goddess amongst nerds, and definitely check out the interview. It's fantastic. Destiny had a chance to talk to Doug Jones and Derek Mackey talking about the documentary Get Me Doug Jones. It's over live on the channel right now. And then last, certainly not least, Betsy Baker. She was Linda in the original Evil Dead run. Super nice lady. I absolutely adored my time talking to her. Go check that out. All live on the channel, plus tons of other interviews. Got a couple people from Letterkenny on the channel. Yeah, there's a lots and lots of stuff happening.
All right, thank you very much. I don't know why. I swear that she knows when I'm podcasting, because the other day I was editing. She comes in and just lays down on my feet and wants belly rubs. And I don't know. I've created a monster, I think, with this kitty cat. But anyways, so let's talk about what I've been watching, which hasn't been much, because we're knee deep in NHL playoff hockey. And so I watch a lot of hockey, especially during the playoffs. So besides that, I have been managing, though, somehow, oddly enough, me and the wife ended up going down this rabbit hole of watching a big giant marathon of Live PD, which I've never really watched that show. I mean, I get it's kind of like Cops, only it's supposedly, quote, live, end quote. The other night, I don't know, there was nothing else on, and we just didn't feel like starting anything new, so we just went ahead and started binging it. And I mean, hey, it is what it is. It's entertainment. It's mindless entertainment. I won't rag on it, because obviously we watched like 7, 8, 9 episodes of it in a row. So, but I am though still taking this very seriously. The amount of books that I need to read, which I hope Justin will put in our studio chat here, how many I have to get, because I forgot if it was 5 books or 10 books or whatever, I forget. But I want to take that challenge. I think Daniel was in on this as well. I need to read more, so pile it on, if you will.
It's comic books, John. You should be able to read 100 of them before the end of the year.
I honestly, I don't buy single issues anymore. It's so much more convenient just to buy the collections.
Yeah, I've been wanting to read comic books, so I just signed the podcast up for Comixology, and they have Absolute Superman on there and the Absolute Batman, which Max has been raving about. So I'm looking forward to checking those out. Another thing, dude, that I've been watching, and I know you haven't, and you need to get on it. Daredevil Born Again Season 2 has been amazing. Yeah. Amazing. And episode 6 was nothing shy of more of awesomeness.
Okay. Cool. Cool deal. All right. Well, shall we go ahead and get into this conversation about this newest and latest episode of Matlock?
We shall, John.
All right, then let's go ahead and get into our opening statement. The name of the episode is The Competition, and its original air date was May 6, 1993. And man, oh man, there is, again, not a lot of credentials for many of these actors and actresses. There were a lot of like 20 and under individuals in terms of their count, but there are a few. So let's jump into the first one. Leon Russum will be playing the role of Frank DeLong, the father character in this episode. You may also know him as General Jonathan Krantz from Prison Break, Willis Frame on Another World, Jack Darling on All My Children, the Sheriff in 2010's version of True Grit, the Commander in Star Trek IV, The Undiscovered Country, the Sheriff on Jericho, Detective Miles on The X-Files, Salvatore Macusi on Port Charles, the Malibu Police Chief in The Big Lebowski, and he actually was also in an episode from Season 6, episodes 18 and 19, called The Evening News, where he played the role of Doug Levitt. This was the episode, Jason, where they had the real estate swindle that they announced it on the Evening News, and people bought up the property, and then there was a murder involved, and that, again, I believe he played the Patsy News reporter, if I remember correctly.
John, I got a question for you. What was the name of Star Trek 4 that you just said?
The Undiscovered Country?
I'm going to need your nerd pass back, John, because Star Trek 4 is the Voyage Home. Star Trek 6 is the Undiscovered Country.
Oh, okay.
So,
can I be honest with you?
Issue an apology later.
I will issue an apology later, and I was not 100% sure, because isn't 4 the one with the whales?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that I had that wrong, but I wasn't sure because, again, I'm a very moderate Star Trek fan. I apologize to all the Trekkies out there for my faux pas.
Trekkers, they prefer to be called Trekkers, John.
Truck. What? Are you serious?
I think so.
Oh, well, wait. You said you think so. You don't know for certain.
I'm pretty sure. I think they look at Trekkie as derogatory and Trekker as not.
Oh, well, I don't want to be offensive to anybody. I apologize again for misusing the
They're
wrong
double
label.
dipping all over the place.
Jeez. I'm going to have to read more than 50 comics, I guess, to get out of this one. John hates Star Trek and Whales.
John just needs to go watch some Star Trek movies.
Yeah, that's due. You know what? I have to be honest with you. I've seen 1. I've seen 2 and 3. I've seen the one with the whales, which is 4, and then that's about it. That's where it cuts off. I didn't see 5. And then what's the Star Trek Next Generation ones? Nemesis I saw.
Generations.
I never saw
First
Generations.
Contact, which is really good.
Never saw First
Insurrection
Contact.
and Nemesis.
I saw Insurrection. So, anyways, let's move on from my faux pas. Maybe I won't make so many mistakes on this one. Let's talk about Andy Stahl, who will be playing the role of Michael Baldwin. You may know him as Mike Hatlin in the movie The Mist, General Nathaniel Green in The Patriot, Principal Sandstrom in The Blind Side. He's also played Agent Schreff in The Client. He was the tailor in Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer. He also played Jeff Krause on Supernatural. He also played Principal in Big Mama's House. He also played Jack Palmer in October Sky. He was the network lawyer in the movie The People versus Larry Flint. He is the reluctant male in Juror in A Time to Kill. Yes, I hope they burn in hell. I had to throw in the Dave Chappelle reference. Also played Cadet Ned Fisk, no relation to Wilson, in North and South Book 1 and 2, and a whole host of other roles for Mr. Andy Stahl. Is there any you want to discuss that we didn't really go in depth about?
Mm-mm.
All right, well, then our last guest star is really not a very big guest star because he's done a lot, but more so behind the camera than in front of the camera. And, of course, I'm talking about Leo Penn playing the role of Russ Lewis. He is the father, of course, of Sean Penn and Sean Penn's brothers, who I forget what their names are. But he is the director of 27 episodes of Matlock, as well as many, many, many others, such as Columbo, Diagnosis Murder, In the Heat of the Night, Magnum P.I., Saint Elsewhere, and literally hundreds of other credits to his name. So we're going to see Leo both in front of the camera and behind the camera in this episode. So that should make for an interesting edition of Matlock. Anything you want to run across?
No, he just, he directed a bunch of Columbo as well. Yeah, fun guy. And John also forgot Kim Walker, rest in peace. She played the victim in this episode of Matlock, Becky Smith. She was also in an episode of Briscoe County Jr. The Outsiders. The Outsiders had a TV series?
That's news to me.
Fascinating.
Side note, I don't like the book, but anyways.
I like the movie. Did I read the book? I know we were supposed to read the book, but I don't know if I actually did or if I just pretended I did. I'm not a role model, people, when it comes to school. She was also in Heather's Say Anything and Picket Fences and everybody's grandmother's favorite show, Highway to Heaven. She passed away in 2001, sadly.
Man, Highway to Heaven. That was a weird show, and weird because maybe I'm looking at it from when I was a kid. It seemed to be always on, but it just seemed like it was a weird. It was like a mix of like action adventure and then a morality tale, and it was all over the place.
Yeah, growing up, I remember 3 things. I remember Highway to Hell, MASH, and Matlock.
Wait a minute, Highway to Hell.
Highway to Heaven. Sorry, AC/DC just slipped in my mind. But yeah, I remember those 3 shows on all the time.
Yeah, well, like I said, it just was an odd mix of things. But anyways, all right, with that then, Jason, I have a question for you. It's the same question that I ask you about, say, this time every episode. Can you give me your opinion, solely your opinion, and only your opinion, so help you?
It's the only one I got, John. So let's testify.
It's time to testify. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the plot of this episode is an apparent suicide of a piano student seems very fishy to Ben Matlock. So we go to our opening scene. It's about a house that's in the suburbs. There's a piano being played by a woman named Juliet, and her dad is there in the living room. He's reading the newspaper, if I remember correctly, and he's given her critiques, about how to better play the piano because there's a big competition coming up. In fact, I believe it is that night. Okay, I don't know. I felt like this daughter, this Juliet character seemed to be suffering from 90210 syndrome, where she looks like she's 32 years old, you know what I mean? And not like a young college kid. I don't know. Was that just me, or what do you say, Jason?
Well, she was only 23 during this episode.
Oh, you mean in real life?
Yeah, I didn't get that.
Okay.
People just looked older back then. Like, Justin used to think the Saved by the Bell people were in their 30s and 40s, but they were actually teenagers.
Okay.
It's just how people looked. They didn't age as gracefully as we do, John.
Well, that's right, because, we didn't have the luxury of having the cigarette machine that you could pull the lever out and drop a pack of cigarettes down there. That aged you quite a bit, smoking those unfiltereds, Yeah,
and all of our preservatives we have in food now are great for keeping this looking good.
Okay, we'll say sure. If you think that that's a bunch of hogwash, feel free to drop your comments in the comment section below, and don't forget you can also email us. Jason, what's that email address?
It is benmattalk@gmail.com.
All right, and of course you can also find us on Facebook, at Mattalk Podcast. And so, it is the night of the competition. And there's a little pep talk from whom is a teacher, but we later find out is Michael. He forgot his lineup for who was going to perform first, so he wings it. Juliet, there's a scene of her playing her song, and she is quite good. She is very good at playing the piano, but unfortunately, she's not good enough because Rebecca Smith wins the competition and wins a scholarship to this fancy music school. Of course, Juliet storms off because she's very upset. She'd worked so hard. And then we cut to a scene, which this is, I assume, the next day or a couple days later, because it's really not mentioned in the timeline of things. But Frank returns home to find Juliet dead of carbon monoxide asphyxiation, with the car in the garage, engine running. Everything very smoky and of course filled with CO. Ben arrives at Frank's for the wake for Juliet. Frank pulls Ben aside and says, "Look, man, I don't think that Juliet killed herself. Like, I just don't believe it. I know my daughter wouldn't do that. Sure, she was upset. Sure, she was hurt and all that, but yeah, there's something about this that's fishy." All right. So Ben and Leanne, they're at the house and they're talking about the Juliet case, which, by the way, I just wanted to know, do you think, Jason, that Ben cost $100,000 for his services on this because he knows Frank pretty well?
No, I think he's just doing the investigation thing.
Okay. All right. So the bill will come later, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Helping a friend. We don't have Danny Roebuck in this. And then last week was Clarence Gilliard's last episode.
Well, first of all, we need to have Cliff Lewis, because how can I have my huge dose of the Lewis family if Cliff is not there?
It's just wild because he joined the cast this season, but I think we've only seen him in like 4 or 5 episodes, maybe.
Maybe. I'm gonna say I'm thinking 3 or 4, maybe, but yeah, and still, Clarence Gilliard getting his props, so to speak, on the intro, but yet not in the episode, as we know from Daniel clued us in that he probably left at this time to go work on Walker, Texas Ranger. So, but anyways, so as I was saying, Ben and Leanne, they're at the house. They're talking about the Juliet case. Billy arrives, and he has news that his brother Russ is coming to town. And man, oh man, Ben is fired up. He thinks that Russ was the bee's knees, so to speak. They were thick as thieves back in high school. And Billy is saying, well, that's great because we need to have a dinner. And that dinner is going to be served here at this house. All right. If that's okay with you, Ben. Even if it's not, guess what? It's happening nonetheless. And I did enjoy how Ben was like, whatever you do, don't call me a jackass when you get to the door. And like a petulant child, what does Billy do?
You jackass. Calls him a jackass.
Yeah.
This would have been a good episode for Don Knotts, too.
This would have been. Absolutely. I think we still have a few more episodes with him in them, but I think we have to wait till next season. So we go back to the music school. Leanne is interviewing classmates, and they all said that Dad, Frank DeLong, really pushed Juliet a lot. And so Ben has nothing really to support or to report to Frank in another scene. Ben does say that the police did find barbiturates in her system. Ben looks at Juliet's car, and basically he notices that like the battery is still fresh, and that if you had parked the car in a garage and left it running, that the battery would be drained somewhat, but it's not. So that's a little bit of an oddity, if you will. So Ben comes up with the theory that maybe Juliet was killed somewhere else, and then the body was brought to this garage and put in there to make it look like a suicide. So we go to another scene at the music school where Leanne interviews a classmate and finds out, as she says, that there's really no boyfriend, or she didn't have a lot of friends, Juliet, et cetera, et cetera. But Leanne does get into Juliet's locker, and she finds a love note. And so to the next scene, Leanne confronts Michael, the music teacher, about their affair. So Jason, at this point, what were you thinking about this episode?
I am intrigued.
Okay.
We're definitely doing better than we did last week.
Okay. I was going to say, my wife asked me about the episode, and I go, well, it's a lot better than the last couple. So I think we can get on the same wavelength with that. Yeah, definitely. Well, Michael, he has an alibi. He was practicing with a band with the, I don't know what they would call it, like the symphony orchestra, I guess is they would be the appropriate name. But that's his alibi, right? And then in the weirdest kind of episode, or the weirdest part of this episode,
John has ADD, folks.
John has a cat that's Can you hear that scratching?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because he's scratching on the side of my desk. I know you're mad, but you can't.
Well, folks, you guys can go to 3geekspodcast.com and listen and watch. You can also go to pvdcast.com. And one thing I have right here for you, if you can just screenshot that, just grab the little QR code, and you can take you right to our website. It's amazing and fantastic and all of the good things. Also, don't forget to email us, benmattalk@gmail.com, and maybe pitch in and get John a cat carrier for when he does his podcast.
Oh, if I put her in the carrier, oh man, that would be a Royal Rumble right here in this office. She does not like going in the cat carrier at all. So
that's why you put the cat carrier in the garage while you podcast.
Yeah, well, that's where it is. But anyways, anywho, hey, it adds a little flavor to the show. What can we say? All right. Anyways,
life does, folks. Anything can happen.
That's right, especially when you're working with animals. Anyways, so yeah, I just thought this was weird that Leanne sits down at the piano next to Michael, and Michael plays a little ditty for him or for her. I don't know. There's something weird about that. Like, if you are talking to this guy who may have been a murderer, why would you sit next to him and tickle the ivories with him?
Why not?
Why not? Of course.
He's not going to murder me. People know where I'm at.
That's a good point. Absolutely. Well, Sandra, the wife of Michael, arrives, and she has an awful opinion of Frank. She just dogs him like nobody's business, all right? So then we cut to another scene. It's dinner time. Russ arrives with Billy, And Billy kind of seems to be the odd man out here. But we find out that Russ is just as annoying as Billy because why
No,
can't
no,
he?
don't put that on Billy. Russ is on another level. Like there's Russ, there's Ace Calhoun, and then there's Billy way down here.
And then there's everybody else too.
Yeah, because Russ is just, oh my gosh.
Well, Russ is a pain in the neck because I don't eat red meat. I can't have mushrooms. This causes me to have indigestion. Blah, blah, blah. He's got an excuse for everything. And so Russ ends up, and this was the one thing that I kind of also scoffed at. He falls out of the chair and hurts his back. Didn't we just see this like a couple episodes ago? So we're just recycling the idea of Ben having a possible lawsuit attached to his name.
Yeah, but they don't threaten the lawsuit in this.
They don't.
He's just needy, annoying person.
Yes, he is. So we go back to the music school, and Leanne is back there. She hears Sandra playing a song that Michael wrote for Juliet. So Leanne goes, "You know about the affair, right?" And she goes, "Yes, I do know." And I also wrote down, and I haven't said this in a very long time, but Sandra has massive shoulder pads. I'm talking, she looked like Junior Seau, man.
Wow. That's
right.
He doesn't play the sports anymore, does he?
He is no longer with us.
Oh, he definitely doesn't play the sports anymore.
He does not play sports anymore. No, he passed on, sadly. Sandra, though, talks about the fact that she still loves Michael and that, it was one of those instances where things went sideways, but she really loves him. She doesn't want him to leave. And so then we go to the piano competition where there's a man playing, and then there's a shot of the judges. There's a shot of Frank in the audience. And the winner of the competition, which I guess this would be like the regional part of this competition, is again, Rebecca Smith. Frank is outraged by Rebecca's performance. Michael is at home, and Ben shows up with the cops. And the cops are there to enforce a warrant. They want to check out the house to make sure there's no prints or anything. And so Ben also breaks the news to Michael and says, "Look, your wife knows about the affair." "No, she doesn't." Yeah, she does. She does. She knows about it. So, we then cut to another dose of Russ. Russ is on the sofa, and his back is so messed up he can't move. But he asked Ben to do all this stuff, such as like, can you shut off the light? Can you turn on the light? Can you move the coffee table? Yada, yada, yada. And Ben starts to realize that Russ has changed, right? Like he's not the fun-loving, happening guy he once was. That he's kind of a pain in the neck. Or the back, if you will. Boom.
Oh my God, he's the worst.
I love this, which we need to maybe explain for some of our younger listeners. The phone gets moved closer to Ben, and then Russ is like, "Can I make some long distance phone calls?" See, folks, if you're unaware, back in the 90s, if you had to call, say, Seattle, Washington from Columbus, Ohio, that was a long distance call, and you paid out the nose for it.
Unless you did it after 9:00.
Right, unless you had that, or you had a calling card that you could type in the number and then call from there. So it wasn't just as easy as, say, picking up our cell phone and dialing.
Or 1-800-COLLECT, 1-800-CALL-ATT, all of the...
See, right on time. Awesome, right there, right on time. Giving you an example of what you would hear as you were calling somebody. You get the ringtone. There, you couldn't time that more perfectly, Jason. All right, so Sandra returns home, and she sees Michael sitting in the office, and they talk about the affair, and they both agree that it was a mistake. They want to get back together with each other. So we go to a scene where Ben realizes that there is no prints of Juliet at Michael's house. So they didn't find anything, which Ben's kind of, if you will, knows that is the case, right? Like they're not going to find anything. We go to a scene where angry Ben is very upset because Russ is being a pain in the neck. And basically, as I wrote down here, I'd rather have Billy than Russ in this episode. I would rather have Billy all day long and twice on Sundays. So Leanne and Ben, they review the facts of the case, and then Ben all of a sudden is like, hey, hold on, I got an idea. And he leaves. He leaves the house. And at that point, I was hoping that we were going to get a lot of Leanne and Russ, but we didn't. But anyways, Ben meets with the judges, and he's like, how is these competitions rated? Like, who votes how, and how does that impact this and that? And so they basically give their 2 cents worth, and we find out that the judges aren't on the same page anyways. All right, they're not on the same page. Frank shows up, and I didn't understand this. I didn't understand why Frank showed up. What business is it of his that he shows up to find out how the judges, manipulated things? So, Jason, do you have anything here real quick before we get moving into the wrap up, the resolution, if you will, of this episode?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay. We then cut to a vacuum demonstration with Russ in the living room of Ben. There's nothing wrong with Russ's back. He's up. He's showing these people how to use this attachment, that attachment, do this, do that, et cetera, right? And there's nothing wrong with him. And so it seems like Ben's not bothered by this because Leanne comes in and goes, he's dumping crap all over the living room. And Ben's been like, he's been doing it since 9 o'clock this morning. So, which I thought was kind of a little bit humorous. But Rebecca has an alibi. She was teaching piano to a kid named Kyle. But Kyle says, hey, she left for about 20 minutes. And you know what? The DeLong house is relatively close to the house, which I believe they said it was a grandmother of Rebecca. But anyways, it was real close to her house. So Ben interviews Rebecca. Rebecca has bribed the judges to allow her to win. And there is something about that she doesn't need the victory, which I didn't understand. Like, I didn't understand that. Like, what did they mean by that? That she didn't. Is Rebecca wealthy? I mean, I don't know. What did you say? What do you say about that? Sorry.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering too. Yeah, Rebecca. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how we got to where we got to, but
well, wait. We'll get to that in a minute, Jason. Juliet knew about Rebecca, so she knew that she was paying off these judges, and so this is why Juliet was killed, by Rebecca at her grandmother's home. So Rebecca lets Ben go to the garage. All right, I don't understand why you would do this, but okay. And basically, they dusted for prints. And they didn't find anything except for a few prints on the garage door because everything else was spick and span clean. And lo and behold, the cops arrived to arrest Rebecca. Ben comes home to find Russ and Billy are still there. And here we get a nurse who is a larger young lady, and she's a little bit rough with her massages. And so she gives Russ a rough massage, and Russ drops the act of being injured. He's healed miraculously, and he runs to the door. And that, my friends, wraps up the competition. Whew, there's a lot to unpack there, Jason. There's a lot. Do you have anything you want to throw out there before we get to our closing statements?
Russ. Nope, I don't got anything.
All right, then let's get on into our closing statements.
This is the part of the podcast where I'm going to go to John's house, lay on his couch, and pretend that I am injured. You guys can rate this show on a gavel system. 1 gavel means that we didn't like it so much. 5 gavels means we absolutely loved it. And negative 37 gavels means that we're both going to become paraplegic and annoy Justin. So, John.
Wait a minute. Whoa. I didn't sign up for becoming paraplegic. And from look at Justin's face, he also did not sign up for this.
Well, John, based on this episode, we're just going to pretend.
Okay. All right. I gave it a 2. I thought Russ is awful. I know he's meant to be that way, but he was just so annoying. I thought that Michael and Sandra's relationship was ridiculously dumb too. Like, oh, he cheated on me, but I want him back. I love him. He's great. Blah, blah, blah. I wanted more background on Rebecca. Like, why was Rebecca so cutthroat? Like, again, she seemed to be well off. I mean, not super rich, but she has a pretty fancy sports car. So the only positive I have is that it was a pretty simple plot, and it didn't try to be fancy or anything like maybe a couple of episodes ago when we've had some of those wild episodes that were just out of this world. What say you?
I give it a 3. It was better than, like I said, we've seen the last few episodes. The Russ storyline was obnoxious, but I enjoyed it a little bit better on the second time around. But yeah, I give it a 3. A lot of the same reasons you said, but I still thought, overall it was a fun watch.
Yeah. Now I hate Star Trek, Wales, and Russell. So, amended. All right, Jason, I know you've already run it down, but let's run it down one more time. What's going on with the Three Geeks podcast?
We have so much going on. And yes, I do have audio visuals because, we do Three Geeks through StreamYards as well. But you can check out our interviews with Felicia Day, Doug Jones, Derek Mackey, and Betsy Baker, amongst many, many others. I interviewed Curtis Armstrong from Revenge of the Nerds the other day, and that will be coming out very, very soon. But so much is happening. Ian Hughes from Lord of the Rings, Justin had a chance to talk to and got some questions we've got some answers to some questions that Justin had about the series and one of the character name changes. But yeah, that's 3geekspodcast.com.
Well, the PVD Cast is my personal podcasting project. It's available at pvdcast.com or wherever you find great podcasts. I'm right now in the midst of my recap of WrestleMania, along with my special guest, Ringside Rand. We're talking about the fallout from the event, what surprised us, what matches we thought were great, what matches we thought stunk, et cetera, et cetera. So if you want to get some unadulterated opinions on WrestleMania, check out episode number 524. And again, that's available wherever you find great podcasts. Well, Jason, I think we've put another one in the books. And next time we are looking at season 8. Season 8. Who would have funked that?
Episode 1.
Episode 1. So
that means a year from now we will be done with Matlock. No, I mean probably sooner than a year from now, but by this time next year we will be on to whatever this podcast spins off to, which is wild.
It is wild, but nonetheless, Jason, let's get on out of here, shall we?
Yeah, we got to get out of here. Justin looks stressed in his little camera down below. All right, everybody. As they say in court,
nothing further.